Welcome to the Mean Street Podcast with Brandon Benefield.
Hey, what is going on here?
Adam Howell.
Okay, I need 33 1/3 pounds of bacon.
Alfred Romero.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm like a dumpster.
And Adrian Moss.
Let's do this!
We use the word revolution because this is a revolution.
Hold one, arm drag. Woo!
The millions.
What? That's the big wiggle.
Look at all of this crap in this ring.
Hold two, arm bar.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
It's still real to me, damn it.
That's right, yet another podcast about professional wrestling. Seriously, guys?
Making their way to the ring at a combined weight of 776 pounds, the Mean Street
Podcast.
Hold three, the moss-covered, three-handle family Gradunzel. Two, sweet!
God almighty, the roof just came off.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is the Mean Street Podcast coming to you from quarantine once again across the interwebs from my brothers, from other mothers. This is B-Double Brandon Benefield, and over there to my bottom left screen, A-Bomb 2 Sweet Adam Howell. What's up, buddy?
Directionally speaking, I'm to your south. You gotta know your directions, man. I am here south of you, north of Adrian, south of Alfred, to deliver some unbiased journalistic integrity on these mean streets leading to a dead end, raising the standards by silencing the falseness. And to my north, Alfred Abs Romero.
Adam Howell, thank you so much for tossing. Let me tell you, I am excited because Mossman, usually a Bibb County out there, manning the mean streets and serving and protecting, but apparently he's live via satellite from a top, looks like an exhibition center over Club La Vela, as he's getting those dollar shot nights, and hopefully we're riding the mechanical bull later on after the Nitro. Oh man, what is?
Well, that's correct, Alfred Romero. I'm telling you, the it's flowing here. We've got women with half shirts on that are drinking hourglass margaritas. We got dudes not wearing shorts, swinging left and right. It's horrible. But I am calling you from Club La Vela here in beautiful, sunny. Where are we? Where are we at again?
Panama City,
Florida, on vacation. I had one vacation day left, and I was like, you know what? I'm taking the drive from Bibb County all the way down to Panama City.
Now, let me ask you, is Tony Schiavone going to be able to make an appearance tonight? I know Tony's down there calling the action for Monday Nitro, but do you think you'll be able to take him away for a little bit to maybe get an exclusive interview of what the NWO is going to be doing tonight, or who they're going to be tossing out of the ring, and also will Scott and Nash be wearing Hawaiian shirts?
Kevin Nash was here, and I think Tony Schiavone's backstage with him right now as he just fell into the pool and tore his quad again. So we'll see what happens. We'll try to get.
That's some tough
Unfortunately,
times.
I'm on the military Wi-Fi signal here, so my video may be choppy, and if you guys lose me, I'm sorry. I'll try to get that fixed.
You're actually coming in a lot better now than like Alfred's in some bunker or garage or something. Alfred's been a little choppy so far, but we're catching everything. So just bear with us, folks.
I was gonna head down to Panama City too, but I couldn't get into Spinnaker's, and La Vela was already full, so they were gonna let anyone in. But even was completely full, man. It was crazy. I'm gonna go walk the strip later on tonight.
Well, if it's anything like the Sizzler that they kicked you out of, I can understand.
Oh my God, that's a whole other story for another show.
Well, Adrian, we do know that you're coming from Club La Vela live from 1997 on the Mean Street Podcast.
That is correct.
Wow.
And just because you're in 1997, we're in 2020, I do kind of want to give you a heads up. WCW actually gets bought by Vince.
Oh, come on, man!
Spoilers!
Yeah.
Spoilers!
Really?
Yeah.
Who's gonna buy that?
Chris Benoit kills some people.
Oh, spoilers!
Whoa!
Hey,
Spoilers!
Hey, come on!
Whoa! That man's a Canadian treasure. You watch your mouth.
Al Qaeda attacks America. It was a whole thing.
What?
Yep, 9/11. It happened 2001. You can bet on it, I think.
That's horrible.
And then what else? But then All Elite Wrestling happens, which is owned by like a guy who owns a football team. And then Animal Crossing came out, and everything's fine.
That sounds awful.
And also Vince has a football league twice.
Oh, did they ever release the sequel to Jurassic Park?
To what?
Apparently, yes. Yeah, Jurassic Park. They came out with a few sequels.
Okay.
That came out in your year. You were in 1997. That's when Lost World came out.
But he's in spring break, so he's in the early
Yeah,
part.
I'm looking at titties, man. I don't know nothing about movies right now.
It's not the summer. It's not the summer blockbuster season yet. We're right in the middle of spring break.
Not only does the Lost World come out, but Jurassic Park 3 comes out. It sucks. Jurassic World comes out. It sucks. Jurassic World 2 comes out. It sucks more.
Is there Jurassic World 2?
Yes, it's terrible.
I didn't even know that.
I know. It's called Fallen Kingdom. So
man, the future looks bright.
Yeah.
The future looks bright, my friend.
we're in the middle of a pandemic in 2020. So
What?
it's terrible.
Things are looking up.
Yeah. And again, Corona.
We've got people here like dry humping and like tonguing each other. They're completely
Hey.
disgusting.
We have,
you know what, Corona.
We still have pro wrestling during the pandemic, but there's literally nobody in the crowd. Like,
all right, so
what's behind you right now
me that
could not exist in 2020 because there's way too many people there. There'd be way too many viruses.
All right, so you're telling me that all life has stopped. You're living in a Mad Max dystopian lifestyle. There's no sports ball, but we still have pro wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
We still have pro wrestling. It is a shining beacon.
I'll take it.
Okay.
It's like a cockroach. It's the only thing that survived. Yeah.
That's something that we did not really talk about on the Main Street podcast was when XFL actually went under a second time, or that stopped. I don't want to say
who would have seen that.
Yeah, I think they filed for bankruptcy. So if someone has a lot of money, they can buy a football league.
I don't
they
think
need
it
to
filed for bankruptcy.
rob some people is what they need to do.
I think
what I know that who's the commissioner?
Cut in, Brandon.
No, because it's bad enough when we're in studio together and everybody talks over each other. But when we're across the interwebs, it's so much worse because it's like delayed and all. It's just wild. But
well, do this for me, Brandon. Why don't you tell me what's happening in the world of wrestling in the year 2020?
Well, actually, this past weekend was Double or Nothing. Anybody else watch it?
I did not. I wasn't gonna drop $50. Well, I was traveling too.
It was rather enjoyable. They had something called the Stadium Stampede, which was absolutely absurd, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, we talked about Money in the Bank a couple weeks ago, which I did not like. This, on the other hand, I enjoyed very much.
I have my finger raised.
I'm pausing.
What's that? You broke up. I have my finger raised.
I said I was pausing because you raised your finger.
Thank you for doing that. Brandon, you watched Double or Nothing. I did not. I watched the Wrestling with Regret. Are you guys familiar with that? With I forget his name. It's a YouTube guy. He's cool. And I was just very intrigued by what I was seeing. Like, it was very different. Everyone was raving about it. This dude on Wrestling with Regret gave it 6 out of 5 stars, something he's never done before.
That doesn't even make sense.
And he also said that it was better than the Boneyard match. It was better than anything that else has been done in this pandemic time period. Brandon, you being the only one of us that watched it, what is your take on it? Give us a little bit of a play-by-play, maybe. Give us the 30,000-foot flyover, and then give us your opinion.
So the big Stadium Stampede was the main event. They had all the regular matches, which was basically like watching a Dynamite because it was in Daly's place, and they had the other wrestlers around the ring, you know, filling out the crowd somewhat. And hey, there's Adam. And so then they had some good matches. You might have seen online where people were raving about the MJF and Jungle Boy match, which was just a good, solid, technical wrestling match. And everybody was finally saying, oh, MJF is actually more than just a good promo. So that was good. The championship match was good between Moxley and Brody Lee. Brody Lee did not win. Moxley retained. They went through the stage at one point with a suplex, and Moxley missed the back of his head being busted open by that much. It almost was. It was almost a Sunny Days situation where Sunny Days split his head open on the one table. You remember?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do I remember?
Well, you almost blacked out, so I didn't know if you remembered totally.
I almost passed out. That was freaking crazy. It was horrifying.
Yeah.
So that was Moxley and who?
And Brody Lee, formerly
Brody Lee.
Luke Harper.
So let's just stop it there, because I do want to get your detailed opinion on the spring stampede, whatever it's called.
Stadium.
Stampede.
What is it?
Stadium
Spring Stampede.
Stadium stampede.
Is it Sturgis?
Yeah.
That's Road Wild. That's Road Wild.
Oh, sorry, Adrian. Set your time machine to take you to Sturgis in 1987.
Yeah, that's Road Wild. That's a totally different pay-per-view.
Hey, real quick, Adam, you've got to go back and tell that story, the Hog Wild story that we had a couple of weeks ago after this, okay?
Do we have a Hog Wild story?
Yes, we do.
Are you talking Hog Wild or Road Wild?
No. Okay, I'm going to go and just tell you.
This is called a tease.
Okay, let's hear this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm writing this down so I don't forget. We were talking.
Okay.
The index cards. Did you get the new batch of index
people
cards?
People are talking. Don't be talking. Brody Lee.
Wow.
And Mox. We'll get back there. So, Adrian, what is the Hog Wild story? And
it was me, you, and Lester Jenkins were at the Moss compound, and he was trying to show you a new guitar player video, and I don't even know who it was he was showing us play. Like live on stage, but the guy came out in a jean jacket, WCW Hog Wild vest.
No. Let me tell this story.
Yes, please.
So our buddy Lester, like we are at the Moss compound and it's steak and whiskey night. Okay, so we each have like these 2.5-pound ribeyes to go through, and we're just drinking whiskeys and just having a great time. We got the fire going. The families are all out. We're just having a great time. Like it is literally like if you want to see Macon, Georgia in the dictionary, it's what happened that night. And so Lester was like, we started talking about bluegrass. And I started like discovering bluegrass. I'm like, this is great music. This is great whiskey music. I love it. And then Kyle's like, well, you got to check out this guy. I'm like, well, let me see that guy. And he pulls up a video of him and he comes out and he's like, check him out. He's pretty good, isn't he? And I'm like, yeah, he is. I'm like, hey, wait, give me that thing. And I grab his phone and I look at it and he's wearing a denim jacket with cut off sleeves. And I said, he's wearing a WCW Road Wild.
No, Hog Wild. It was Hog Wild.
WCW Hog Wild denim cut off t-shirt. I was just looking at these on eBay.
All I heard was Adam screaming my name from like 3 rooms away. He's like, Adrian, get in here right now. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, this guy's got on a Hog Wild vest and it's made out of denim. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I'm not even joking. I was actually looking at that vest. I could only find the female version of the vest on eBay, and it was like for $350. It's just a denim cut off sleeveless jacket with the Hog Wild embroidery on the back. And if any of the meanies out there want to hook me up, and if you have one of these hanging in your pappy's closet, please.
I can probably find some in the crowd behind me.
Why didn't you buy the female one you found on eBay?
It probably would have fit great.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You would have filled it out.
Well, I've been working on those.
That's what I'm saying. You would have like filled it out. It would have looked tight. It would have like a muscle vest.
Yes, thank you. That's a compliment. Appreciate that.
It's rare.
I'm sorry for derailing the conversation there, but I wanted to remember that before I forget.
Dude, that was good. I'm glad we shared that because it was so funny and then it completely derailed Lester because he was like, I'm just trying to show Adam some bluegrass, and we're talking about a wrestling denim jacket.
I can't even remember who it was he was showing us, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's the greatest guitar player of all time. I couldn't tell you one song.
Because here's the thing. Can you imagine being that bluegrass guitar player and then saying like, hey, what are you gonna wear on stage tonight? Probably my WCW jacket.
Fine in my book. Hey, so real quick, happy birthday to our buddy Lester. First off, so second off, Adam. So now you need the meanies to find you 2 things: the vest and then the X-Pac toy, right? Or 1, 2, 3 Kid.
So 1, 2, 3 Kid. Okay, we'll get to the collection in a little bit. I'm not having good luck. I have a whole rant saved for the end of the episode. Okay, so we'll get there. That's sort of rant. Brandon, I'm kind of mad that you brought that up because it's kind of a soft spot for me.
Oh.
Okay, let's get back to the news. Okay, Brody Lee versus Mox at Double or Nothing. Like, is anyone buying into the Brody Lee character, like being the leader of the Dark Order? Do you guys Is it just me? Do I just have rose-tinted glasses of when wrestling was so good that I believed everything?
Yes, you do.
Glasses.
I think you do, because you talked about this a week or two back about how you're having trouble following AEW because of the kayfabe situation. Like, I've accepted a while back that, hey, everybody knows it's scripted. Everybody knows it's not real anymore. So I just accept it for the entertainment value, although I do still respect like the good technical physical matches. But I'm also very aware that there's a lot of silliness involved when it comes to pro wrestling. I'm very much aware.
It's a very valid point. I just don't believe Brody Lee as that. As a matter of fact, like I was watching, I think the latest episode of BTE, and it was had a little several minutes devoted to Brandon Cutler. And before Brody Lee was revealed to be the leader of the Dark Order, I was like, that would be perfect for Brandon. Not you, but Brandon Cutler.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I mean, you'd be good too. You're in the Dark Order.
Hey man, whoa. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fired.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You literally were on video at a Dark Order meeting.
That wasn't, man. You don't have any evidence that was me.
Yes, we do. It's on video. That's
what
evidence is.
Hey, he was a handsome guy, whoever it was, but it was not me. Hey, shut up. Shut up. I can see you. I can see your face. Stop it.
How can you see me? It's on the internet. Nothing's real. It's all fake news.
Hey, so I don't remember where we were going. Anyways,
so I want to hear
Lee.
Detail. I want to hear, like, okay, the card is great, but I want to hear your detailed 60,000 foot view, maybe 70,000. I don't know how much time we have. 70,000 foot view of the actual Stampede wrestling from Calgary match.
No, it wasn't that kind of Stampede. It wasn't Stampede wrestling. And also earlier you said 30,000 foot view, so now I'm confused as to what exactly you want. 30,000, 60,000, 70,000. Stadium Stampede match was a ton of fun. A lot of comedy. I don't know. I didn't see this or hear this, but apparently Jim Cornette, which makes sense, but apparently he lost his ever-loving you-know-what after the fact, like talking about how terrible it was, because that's just what he does. And it involved the Young Bucks, and he hates those guys. But this was very silly. There was a lot of comedy. It started out kind of everybody like met in the middle, and they kind of got in the ring a little bit. There was a ring on the 50-yard line, but then it kind of broke off into like either pairs or trios into different parts of the stadium. You guys being video game guys, I'm not so much, but somebody made a reference to at one point Ortiz did an Irish whip to Kenny Omega into one of the tunnels, but then he disappeared. And like, I think even Excalibur said something about, oh, he just whipped him somewhere. And then later on, you see him, and he's like on a different level of the stadium. And so people were making reference to a video game, saying that's how you got to the backstage area, was by doing that move, apparently, right? Anybody?
Yeah, it was was it NWO Revenge for N64?
Oh,
It was either that or No Mercy. It was No Mercy. It was No Mercy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but again, I'm not a big video game guy, so I didn't catch the reference. I just read about it after the fact, which I thought was fun. Adam's gone, so. Oh, no, he's back. There it is. He's got it right there.
There he is. My man.
So anyways, they did a real life.
It's no big deal.
They did a real life version of that with Kenny Omega for him to be able to transition into the backstage area. There's a good bar scene at one of the bars with Hangman and Jake Hager, and turned into like a bar brawl. You even got Hangman being drugged down the bar, knocking all the bottles everywhere. And there was a whole pool scene up in the upper level with Matt Hardy. And, you know, if you're familiar with Matt Hardy and the Hardy compound and the Lake of Reincarnation, they did a whole bit with that in the pool where he kept changing versions every time he would get dunked and come back up. There was a ton of fan service as far as like little inside jokes. If you're a hardcore fan and you know the inside jokes of like BTE and stuff like that. So Adam obviously wouldn't have liked it. Apparently, he's shaking his head.
I just don't like
Adam shaking his head no, but
we got a little freezing action.
Moss man,
Adrian, you there?
Sorry,
there you are.
Here. Can you
there you are.
me?
It stopped. It stopped when you said Adam is shaking his head no, and then it froze.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I was just gonna point that he was shaking his head no.
Yes,
okay.
You were.
We all have video, Adrian.
The
Well, I was going
listeners
to come in and
the
say something
listeners
else,
don't.
but then you started talking when it paused. So
Hey, Alfred's smiling.
why did you eat a dick?
Oh, hey, jeez.
There's a
Why'd
bunch
you
of
tell me
mine.
that, Alfred?
I know you're lucky you're at La Vela right now in 1996 right now, because I'd be going back in time and kicking your ass all up and down La Vela.
He wasn't talking to you, Alfred. He was talking to Adam.
Oh,
No,
Yeah, I was
but
talking to Adam.
Well, Alfred's got my back. You talk to me like that?
No. With
Yes,
what's
yes,
going
yes, yes.
on in the world today, the colored people are staying together on this. Okay, Alfred's got my back.
that's right. The Minority Report all up in there.
Alfred just switched on a dime, like in no time.
He's like, oh yeah, I forgot.
I just went from babyface to heel.
Anyways, Adam, you were shaking your head. Go.
I definitely can opine about that. Thank you, Brandon, for bringing that back to me. And that is a hell of a play-by-play of the Hog Wild from the football field stadium Calgary match. So, and I mean, obviously the Stampede, like it's a callback. The name itself is fan service. Okay. So it's just kind of like, why, I don't know. I'm just not for that. Like, don't do fan service. Give me something new. Give me something creative, something that's, because all those people in that AEW locker room are incredibly talented, incredibly creative. And I just feel like they're just pressing the right buttons to get these nostalgia votes, these nostalgia views, these nostalgia buys. And I don't know. I'm just not for it. That's all
All I would say is at some point, and obviously you can't, probably won't pay to watch it, but maybe it's online somewhere. But watch and then get back to me and see what you think. Not that I'm thinking you're going to like it all of a sudden, but I'm just saying, that way I can trust your opinion a little more, because it's hard to hear people like explain why they don't like something if they didn't watch it to begin with.
Yeah, that's true. The part that I saw that I really, really liked was the Hangman Page coming in on a horse.
It sounded like you said coming. It sounded like you said coming in on a whore because the
that
S
was the
cut
only
off.
section of that match that I saw. Damn it!
I got what you said, but
Sorry.
you said horse, but it
I'm
sounded
just
like
glad I didn't say it. I like the part where Hangman Page was coming on Sammy Guevara. Like, I'm glad that didn't come through.
I will not buy that pay-per-view.
Adam, you got to see it. That'll change your mind in a second.
Yeah, but no, seeing Hangman Page come in on the horse going after Sammy Guevara was super awesome, and that got the biggest pop out of my wife, out of anything else, because she's a Hangman woman. She's all about that guy, and seeing him ride in, she goes, her words to me, she goes, he's legitimately riding that horses, and she used to ride horses. She goes, he's not like just like bouncing all over the place, like he is actually riding that thing like the proper way. I was like, yeah, he's a cowboy. He does cowboy shit. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. Once Sammy started running, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, that horse is actually going to like gallop. He's not just going to be walking along. And so he like went the length of the football field riding the horse, chasing after Sammy, which is pretty funny.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely want to watch it because I do like to see. Here's the bottom line. Here's the story. Here's the scoop. Is that I like to see how creative these promotions are being during this time period. And I do think that the two biggest things right now, obviously, are the Boneyard match and the Fiends match from WrestleMania, as well as this Stampede match. I think that is definitely taking the cake, and because you have to be creative. Because here's the thing: is wrestling was not meant to be displayed in the way that it is right now with no crowds. It just wasn't meant to be. It's always been a spectator event. It was designed to sell tickets to a lot of people, as many people as possible, and they're unable to do that right now, and it's terrible. It sucks. So it's just interesting to see how creative these promotions are actually becoming to try to find a solution to this problem.
Yep.
And I hope you join us next week with the Mean Street Podcast.
Yep.
That's good. This is really good.
Can we play a commercial? Go to commercial. We're just going to do it live.
So what's going on to La Vela right now, Adrian?
I just saw Dennis Rodman pull up with the NWO in a stretch limo.
Oh,
The worm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Adrian. Here's the thing: is Dennis Rodman actually ends up being friends with the dictator of North Korea.
What?
Yep, he actually goes over there. He's our main ambassador to the entire country of North Korea.
This is you're just making shit up. This is like
Nope,
some
2020
McMahon.
sucks.
This is gonna be like the birth of the hand that I just saw not too long ago. This is gonna be horrible.
That was great television.
As a matter of fact, that the hand grows up to be. No, I got nothing. I don't know.
No, that's too bad. I was looking forward to it.
Sorry, Alfred. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much, man. I'm just waiting for Adrian to get on that mechanical bull over there at La Vela. It's
that bull's got my name on it. So does this fat lady in a pink tube top. It's 1997. I can say fat lady, okay?
You can say a lot of things.
I can say whatever I want to say over here.
Yeah, man, those were the days, 1997.
Let's segue into probably before we get there, but actually before we segue into Dynamite, I do want to talk about a very tragic event that happened this past week, which was the passing of a pro wrestler named Hana Kimura. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She was very young, 22 years old, and she was the victim of cyberbullying. So just being bullied. I don't really know why we have to redefine bullying or just being mean or being cruel. Like being mean and being cruel, that's what it is. It's not cyberbullying. It's you being a shitty person is what it is. Yes, and that's the thing is. Adrian, I hope you don't mind if I ask this or say this, but Adrian texted me the other day and was like, hey, what do you think about the cyberbullying thing? And I was like, well, you have to think about it because, like, she's 22 years old. That means she was born in 1998. And her entire life was on the internet. It was digital, you know? And so, especially being in the spotlight, she was on a television show, a reality television show. She's a pro wrestler with Stardom. And apparently the fans went at her or whatever, and then things got south real quick. So I don't like putting things in buckets like cyberbullying. I just like I said, it's just being mean and cruel and being evil to somebody. And now there's one less person on this planet, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to seeing the outlook, the pouring of support and love for her now after she's dead and gone is really heartbreaking. But when I was talking to you about it, and I ask, because it just doesn't. I'm 38 years old, so cyberbullying doesn't mean a thing to me. The internet doesn't really mean a thing to me because I was here before this was here, because I was, I used to get bullied in school, and it sucked because there's no way you can get away from it. You have to be in the classroom with this person, or you work with a coworker that's just a complete piece of shit, and he just treats you like garbage the whole time, and you can't do anything. You have to sit there with them. But in my brain, I'm sitting there going, well, if people are just being mean to you on the internet, can't you just turn your computer off and walk away from it? And that's when Adam was like, dude, you got to remember, it's a different generation now. This is their life, and this is one of the things that they feel like they can't get away from. And I'm like, damn, I said, I never really thought of it that way, but that kind of put it in perspective for me. And I feel for her and her family and the people that were close to her. That's absolutely terrifying.
I was thinking the same thing. You talk about like how old we are, and when the internet came along, we were already pretty much adults. Well, kind of, sort of. We're still not really adults, but you know what I mean. We were older when it came along, so it's hard for me, the same thing, like to wrap my head around, like, yeah, just like ignore it or delete it or whatever. But I think about my nieces and nephews, and of course, Adrian and Alfred, you guys have kids. And I think about like my nieces and nephews, that's all they're going to know is the internet, is being online, is like their whole life. And so they're going to experience the same kind of thing, probably, unfortunately. And the other thing too about Hannah is that I didn't know who she was until after all this happened. The news came out, and but everything I'm seeing was that she was super talented and had like a huge bright future ahead of her in the wrestling world. And that's what makes it more heartbreaking too, is that she had like all this potential, and then to see it cut short like that is just complete BS. And it just sucks, man. It's just, yeah, be nice to each other. Like, it's not hard to be nice, or just don't say anything at all. But there's always trolls out there online, and and the thing is with wrestlers these days, with the coming of the internet and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything, they count on that to help market themselves, to broaden their fan base. So all of them are online for the most part, unless you're like the Bucks, who got off Twitter specifically because of the trolling and everything. But it's just hard for them to avoid it, and you're never going to get away from the trolls. They're just out there. And it sucks.
And to the meanies listening, the best thing to do is have a good support system. If you have people that are just taking the hugest dump on your life and you're trying to make the best of it, have people you can confide in, people you can talk to, and don't be afraid to look to others for solace and for comfort. Just get it. If you need to take a break from the internet, do that. Get away from it because it's toxic.
So I 100% agree with you, Adrian. And honestly, I was talking to Adrian about this earlier, that if we want to have like the biggest impact of the world, if we want the world to be better, it's just to eliminate social media overall. I don't think that it really brings, like, the good that it does bring is nothing compared to the bad that it brings. I think that our families will be better. I think that we as individuals will be better. I think that we would view politics better. I think we would view pro wrestling better. And I just think it's a giant steaming pile of poop overall. But anyway, that's the topic that's behind us. Tragic news about Hannah Kimura. My prayers go out to her family and all her friends and fans. That sucks. So,
well, and not to make a joke about it, a serious matter, but you look at these people behind me, they ain't a smartphone in sight. I mean, they still on some Nokias and some flip phones, and everything's hunky dory here. You don't think they got to worry about a little bit of chlamydia? That's what it is.
Everybody worries about chlamydia. I mean, come on.
It's true. Every day.
Brandon, it's okay. Doctor said the rash would clear up in a couple days.
Yeah, but he said that like 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
you got to carry it around with him like luggage.
Is it still burning?
Yeah. Only when I sit down. What? I don't know. Hey, before we move on, I meant to bring this up earlier when we were talking about AEW. Have you been keeping up with BTE? Did you see the most recent episode?
Some of it, like, okay, I'm just being highly critical of those guys. Yeah,
you've been highly critical of them since day one, since day one-ish.
you know who else was highly criticized? Van Gogh. Okay, so it doesn't. If you're being criticized, it's not a bad thing. It means that people care about the product.
And he can't wear sunglasses anymore. So take him a second. They'd be like, oh.
Has anybody seen the meme of Evander Holyfield trying to wear a mask, but it's hanging?
Oh no!
He's like, "Thanks a lot, Mike Tyson." Anyways,
so is that what you're about to segue into? Is Dynamite? Or BTE?
Well, no, I was going to segue into BTE. If you've seen the most recent episode, and if you waited to the very end, but if you didn't see the very end, then I'll let you just watch it separately. And
tell us, it's already out there. Oh, okay. He
finally showed up. Yeah, it was like a after credits scene, a post credits scene.
Was it just a brief cameo, or is there a story element?
Ooh, it sounded a little gurgly there. Maybe it's just on my end. What'd you say, Adam?
Was it just a little cameo, or was it was there an actual story element involved?
Basically, so there's like a few of the elite, and they're in the hotel room before the stadium stampede, and they're like preparing before Double or Nothing, like, all right, what do we got to do to get ready? And so they kind of huddle up, like, let's just think, let's huddle up. And so Marty like walks through the door, and he walks up, and he's standing like right outside of them, and he's like, hey guys, but they pretend basically like they can't hear him. And so they're just like talking to each other, like, what are we gonna do? What can we do? We need something to help us win this match. And Marty's like, guys, and he's just like, hello. And they never.
If anybody out there's ever had a younger brother, you've done this.
Right.
Or
so
had it done to you.
Eventually they shoo him off because they act like they think he's like a room service guy, like bringing dinner or something. So they're like, yeah, just leave it at the door or whatever. And then, so finally he's like, whatever. And he leaves. And then Brandon Cutler, who's recording it, goes, guys, do you realize what you did? Or do you realize what you've done? He's like, you didn't tip the guy. And then they all kind of run out like, oh, wait. And then that's when it ends. Kind of like the Dumb and Dumber ending.
Yeah.
You realize what you've done. The town is back that way. Anyways.
So that makes it sound like it's a cameo, but who knows what they can do, and who knows what Marty is doing not having any shows right now. I don't know.
Well, so apparently he's in the booker role for ROH, and my understanding is since this started, ROH hasn't had any shows, whereas like, Impact has had like the empty arena shows. Obviously AEW, WWE have had the empty arena shows. NWA haven't had any shows. ROH hasn't had any shows. My thought was he just was in Florida. He probably lives in Florida with he is dating what's her name that was in NXT but just got released, and now she's signed to Impact. whose name I can't think of, but I think she lives in Florida. So my thought is he was down there.
Hell of a team.
Yeah.
She's a wrestler I do not know the name of in a city I'm unaware of. For a promotion.
She's
Diana
call.
Diana Perazzo or Diana Perazzi or something like that. Anyways, Marty Skrull's girlfriend.
I know that he's tight with Matt Cardona as well, because he's starting a wrestling figure collection himself. So,
well, there you go. Anyways, I'm a big Marty fan, so I'm not saying he's coming to AEW by any means. I just think maybe this could be seeds planted of ROH and AEW perhaps doing something, working together, perhaps, since now that he's booking for ROH.
Yeah.
Alfred, jump in there.
Someone send Brandon some Post-it notes, because he's exactly, because he needs to get some of those and make his show notes on. Just like
I got the show notes right here.
Alfred, let me see your show notes.
I'm the show note guy. Don't steal my gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. So why is Alfred saying I need Post-it notes? Adam's already got it taken care of.
So let's talk about Dynamite. Let's talk about the two biggest aspects of Dynamite, and maybe just cut out the last 12 minutes of this show. On Dynamite last night, two big things happened. Three big things happened. Number 3 was that I actually forgot about Dynamite again. So at like 9:30, I was like, oh crap, Dynamite's on. And so I tuned in, and then of course, I think I'd already missed the FTR thing, but I checked on the internet and I saw what I missed. So FTR debuted Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. Made their debut, formerly known as the Revival. What are you guys making of this? Obviously, they're known as the no flips, just fists sort of gimmick, and I think that kind of gimmick is going to continue on because it's all the type of truck that they pulled up in. And if you drive a truck like that, you're not flipping anybody. You're just throwing fists.
You're going hard all day, all night is what you're doing.
Say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what do you guys make of this? I think that they're a perfect couple for the Young Bucks and maybe the Lucha Brothers. What are you guys making of it?
I like the way they came in. I like the entrance. The vehicle they were in was badass. Now, what is FTR standing for in AEW? Because I thought I saw something.
Initially, they were going to go by the Revolt, but then there's an indie team who they've been to SHW, Caleb Conley and Zane Riley, who go by the Revolt and have been for like 5 years. So they gave them a cease and desist. So then they said, okay, we'll just go by FTR, since that's what has been kind of the running joke for the last couple of years anyway with BTE and everything, although it was F the Revival at the time. So they were going to go by FTR as Fear the Revolt. But then after they debuted, they put up a shirt on AEWshop.com that says F the Rest.
Okay, that's what I saw, and I was wondering if that was going to be their name, and I'm like, that's pretty ballsy. I like that.
So, yeah, so now I'm not sure because I thought it was going to be Fear the Revolt, and now the shirt says what it says. So maybe it's just going to mean whatever it means. It's going to
at that time.
mean,
I thought that'd be kind of cool too, like F the rules, or
Yeah,
it's going to be up to your. It's going to be up to your interpretation.
Well, what I like about that, you're right, Alfred. It is up to our interpretation, and well said. And I think that my interpretation is this: that they were also, I think, they played around with the name, just kind of behind closed doors of Top Guy. What?
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
There's like a ghost face that popped in, and then he kissed the ghost face.
No, that was my waitress. She just brought me some fish tacos and some red beans and rice.
So at Club La Vila,
guys.
At Club La Vila, they just kissed the customers.
Wow. That's a hot waitress you got there, La Vila, man. That's very sweet, bud.
Yeah, she had all her teeth too, so she's the one I'm going for.
Oh, you think you got a shot?
No, you go for the one that doesn't have any teeth.
No, I was about to say, do you think you have a shot with that waitress?
Feels incredible.
That's what happened.
No, all right. So at one time, the Revival, they were playing around and calling themselves Top Guys. So that kind of makes sense that if they're top guys, like, hey, we're top guys, F the rest of them. And so that kind of fits their MO. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. I mean, I don't know who they're going to build up with. I know that they beat down the Butcher and the Blade, which Allie, the Bunny, was missing, which was very interesting because that is my favorite thing about Dynamite.
She was not missing, although I think she's revamping into a different character because she was standing on the other side of the ring next to QT Marshall, and he was like flirting with her the whole time while Cody was in the ring talking, and Brandy kept smacking.
Why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing this? Like with Brandy, and like how her gimmick was going nowhere. Then like, oh, everything's normal. She's no longer psycho. I'm like,
well, because, and here's the thing, and this is probably where you're coming from as far as like the kayfabe and how they just kind of throw some of the kayfabe out the window, is that with WWE, they'll have like a really, really stupid gimmick or idea, and then Vince will just insist that it's really good, and they'll see it through, like freaking Rowan recently with the big giant tarantula that he was keeping in the cage. It was the dumbest thing ever, but they saw it through. Anyways, and so it seems like AEW is just not doing that. Once they get wind that the fans think it's awful, they just go, all right, we'll try something else.
So before we get to my second point, by the way, I'm just super excited about FDR being in AEW. It was definitely an obvious place for them to go. So I'm so glad that they're there. And I was actually, surprised by Brian Cage going to AEW. Like I just felt like out of all those WWE guys that were recently released, and you wanted a big body guy, like I'm sure there would have been other people to not to knock on Brian Cage, but that was a surprising choice to me.
Well, supposedly, so the WWE, everybody that got released are on 90-day non-compete, but then Brian Cage has been signed since January, even though he was injured. And so apparently he's been signed while he was out, but was already starting to get a paycheck until he healed up. And so, yeah, he's been on the payroll, I guess, since January.
Okay.
And
well, he's got a great look, and, obviously he's got the mouthpiece of Taz, the suplex machine, right? The submission master. And I love that line that Taz used to use. He said, what did he say? He was like,
yeah, he said it last night, but now I can't remember what it was. Survive if we let you, something, survive if we let you.
Yeah, so good, man. I that's a great pairing. It's almost
so good that we can't remember what it is.
You know that catchphrase?
It was the early bird gets the worm. I think that's what it was. Something like
survive. Yeah.
Yeah, like
early bird gets the worm, and by that wrestler that we don't remember the name of, from the town of I don't remember where.
He's really good too.
I'm gonna pull an Adam and kind of shit on this, because when I see this, it just reminds me of like a great value version of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman.
Well, that's what the internet was saying after the fact. Everybody was saying, making that exact comparison. So. Although honestly, Brian Cage can do some very, very physical and crazy things for a guy his size that Brock
he looks great.
that Brock used to could do, even though he tried to do that though he tried to do the shooting star press back at Mania 19, and he didn't quite make the rotation. But anyways, Brian Cage is incredible. So
he is, and Taz is no comparison to Paul Heyman either. I mean, he could be, but like even when he delivered that really solid line, it was just like with no gusto, no believability. It's like they just get out there, and I just like don't believe it. It's just like Taz on a podcast talking and not delivering a hostile promo.
Well, I think the issue with Taz, and I was thinking this as well, to your point, is that we're so used to hearing him either on commentary or on a podcast that we're not used to seeing him in a character anymore, like with a gimmick. And so it's weird to go from hearing him on commentary, just shooting the breeze. And then now he's like badass trying to be mean and tough. And it's just kind of weird. It's going to take some getting used to, I think.
I agree.
He's going to have to look at old videos of himself when he was in the Aces and Eights, when he was doing commentary there, man. I mean, he could look back at that and maybe be able to learn something from
Alfred with a TNA reference. Nice.
That's right. He did commentary and was on the Aces and Eights, man. Look at that. He was doing both. He just needs to look back at some of that old footage, man, and maybe it'll come back to him.
And you're wearing an Aces and Eights hat. That's cool because it's got an A on it for Aces.
Yeah, totally. It says that, and then I got the rest of it right here.
There it is.
Oh.
Speaking of which, Alfred, tell everybody where you can pick one of those up.
At some website.
ProWrestlingTees.com/MainStreetPod.
Exactly, a website.
That is Alfred, I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man. Apparently, you go on the computer, you go to some Google, you hit what he just said /Mean Street, and looking forward to the new Spaghetti Night T-shirt that's going to be introduced.
Speaking of which, let me just put this out there. If we know anybody, any of the meanies out there that are good at like drawing like caricatures or something like that, we need a picture of Alfred holding a plate of spaghetti, and then over it, it'll say, "It's Spaghetti Night. and then we'll throw the
and then meanstreetpodcast.com at the bottom.
yeah exactly.
In the year 2020, do you guys still have to type in http:// www.
You don't, but Alfred does anyway. Like you can, but you don't have to.
When I was in high school, which was 90 no wait, it was like 96, 95. We made we had an actual internet class. We had a web class where you could learn all that, programming and all that kind of stuff. So we made a website for the high school, and I found the old article because we had like a press conference. I was wearing a suit. There's a couple of other classmates, and they had the actual like physical the address like for the website, and it was literally like almost half the page. It was like, you know what I mean? http://sandycreekhighschool.netscape. This that over there USA Russia FU/backtrack/SCHS Patriots.
Wow.
It was crazy.
But at that time it was pretty high tech. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it was pretty sweet. We had a little dancing animation on it. It was amazing.
Speaking of high tech and dancing animations, last night on AEW Dynamite, Mike Tyson came out. So
I love the transition.
Wow.
It's natural. I'm a natural, baby. I'm a journalist. That's what I do.
That broadcasting school is really paying off.
Yeah, I can transition anything to anything. Okay, don't even try me.
I need to transition these spilled red beans and rice back to my plate because they're all over my.
Like, I'm sorry, but like if people are watching this like video, I don't know if we're gonna show the video or not, but like literally, I can't hold it together because while you guys are talking, I got Mossman in the bottom left corner to block, who is like literally cannot stop eating his dinner as we're doing the show. And plus that outfit he's wearing too is like awesome too. Like he hasn't broke the 1996 character he's got going on right now.
That's Beach Mossman, yeah. This
is a easy going Mossman. You know what I'm saying?
He's like Mick Foley with like all these multiple personality characters.
Bang, bang.
I mean, like if he was in WrestleMania, he could come out like 8 times with all the characters he has.
That's the thing is like when I die, I'm just gonna reincarnate it into another version of myself.
You have like Militia Mossman. You have Beach Mossman.
That'll be awesome. We'll be at his funeral. It'll be like 5, 4, 3, 2, and then here comes the
my favorite Mossman is.
Yeah. Why would the buzzer go off at 2 though?
Well,
I think that's what it does. But my favorite incarnation of myself is Cocaine Mossman, which is where I just wear like white shirt, white shoes, white pants. I got my hair slicked back, and I'm just crushing booger sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like it's amazing.
You sounded familiar.
I was gonna say you just
booger sugar.
You just morphed into T-Bolt Mahoney there for a second.
Oh, I can do his voice pretty well. We were, matter of fact, we got kicked out of Arby's about a quarter mile away. He's here. He's back there somewhere.
I love when a story from the Mossman starts. Well, we're at the Arby's, and I was doing a bump in the bathroom, and all of a sudden,
gotta get those beef and cheddars, baby.
Hit you every time. So T-Bolt Mahoney is on vacation with you. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, he's down here too. Oh my God. I've already had to bail him out of jail 6 times. You know.
So, speaking of doing some Colombian banding in an Arby's bathroom, last night on AEW Dynamite, Mike Tyson, boxing legend, showed up on the show. What do you guys make of that?
That was actually a better segue than the one before, actually. That makes more sense. Mike Tyson and cocaine, actually. Yeah, that's more believable segue. I think it's whole. I don't know. It's fun. The sole purpose is obviously for media attention because Tyson's back in the news because he's supposedly going to be making a boxing comeback. And that's the whole idea behind bringing him to AEW is to get eyes on the product, to get the outside sports world eyes on the product. So I get it. But it really was like the ending of the show last night with the pull apart was a straight up, knockoff of the Austin Tyson from back in the day. So I could see where it was like a complete ripoff of that. But I also get why they're doing it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it is what it is. So I don't know, whatever.
Well, it's the perfect time for it because, like you said, he is coming back into the limelight, and above all else, I mean, he's a megastar. Like I think even more so than some of the bigger sports ball players. I think that he is just like
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole other level. Well, I guess he's going to be on the same par with like Michael Jordan, and that's the only mega sports star I really know.
He's up there. The whole world knows the name.
Yeah, everybody in the world knows who Mike Tyson is. So it's very smart. And yet, I mean, I know WWE did it. Well, for us it was like this year, but for you guys, I know you did it like several years ago.
90 might have been 98 actually.
Was it 98? Okay,
I don't remember.
There's talks that he's going to do it next year with WWF.
Because you're what, 97 right now? Right?
Yeah, I think we've established.
Well, if they really wanted to bring some attention outside while you're there, Moss Man, you should grab David Arquette from 1997 and bring him back to.
That was 2000.
That was then get in your DeLorean and go to 2000.
Like from Scream?
Yeah.
What is he talking about?
No, bring the WCW David Arquette.
Yeah,
Hey, Kimber.
Oh yeah, my wife's.
What?
Kimber's preparing spaghetti in the background.
Hey, Kimber.
David Arquette wins the World Heavyweight Championship.
She's not making.
In what year?
She wants to know.
2000.
Yeah.
David Arquette?
David Arquette, the actor.
The actor?
Yeah. He's WCW
Ronald Reagan?
champion, man.
The actor?
Yeah. He won the WCW championship, dude.
Who's his tag team partner? Sean William Scott?
What a classic.
You guys want to talk about some booger sugar? Sean William Scott. That guy could put away some powder. You know what I'm saying?
Alfred loves cocaine jokes.
I love this show.
But no, for real, the Mike Tyson thing, like, even though it was super corny. Let's call it what it is. But it got more eyes on the company, and they did the same thing Vince is doing. But they did the exact same thing that Vince is doing.
25 years ago.
Well,
Yeah, they did
but then you
25
have
earlier.
The internet, the IWC, that's what they're losing their mind about, is because they're not supposed to be a knockoff of WWE. They're supposed to be a different, better product and blah. So,
but I mean,
who's never going to please everybody? And
who's a bigger fighter than Mike Tyson, though? If you have,
I agree.
If you have the bankroll to get Mike Tyson, get Mike Tyson.
Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor would have been a better choice.
I disagree. I think Tyson, because nobody cares about Conor McGregor right now. But Tyson's hot right now is what it is. Tyson has got shit
Yeah, did you not see The
on.
Hangover? Did you not watch The Hangover?
Oh, I love The Hangover. Yeah.
Come on, he was great in that flick.
Honestly, Conor McGregor is hotter than Mike Tyson right now.
Why? No,
But it would-
I don't
Adam,
think so.
you're
But,
wrong.
But I mean, is he easier to control though? That's the thing, because that guy goes like absolutely crazy. So I mean,
I don't know. Now, as far as craziness goes, I think they're probably on about the same level. But I honestly think right now, this second, Mike Tyson in the news and in the broad world of sports, Mike Tyson is the bigger name currently. So I know why they're trying to capitalize on bringing him in right this second. It makes sense. But again, I'm not crazy about the whole knockoff of what they've already done in WWE. Now, he came back, and this I had forgotten, but he came back in 2010 to WWE on Monday Night Raw, and he knocked out Jericho, which I saw the video where Jericho retweeted it from when that happened. And on the video, you clearly see him whiff, but Jericho goes down, no problem.
See, I don't even remember that.
I don't either. That's what I'm
saying.
saying. I don't either. But Jericho's been pumping it up on Twitter before last night, saying the date from whatever it was in 2010. And he's like, never forget. I never forget this date. And so he referenced it last night when they had a confrontation in the ring. So I do think it's kind of fun that they're, referencing there is some sort of storyline in the past that they're building upon. But
here's the real question. Here's the real question. What do you think of the belt?
the TNT belt?
Yeah.
Well, my first thought was, ugh. But then right away, Tony Schiavone said, well, because of the pandemic, we're not able to get it completed yet. And so they did admit, like, right away that it wasn't finished, which it was getting torn apart on the internet because everybody was like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It's like the 24/7 title.
Which I think it's kind of cool, to be honest, to show an unfinished belt, because it kind of reminds me of back when they were really trying to solidify what the WWF Heavyweight Championship was going to look like, because it went through different iterations very early on when Hogan was the primary champion. There's one belt that was even on television just one time and actually had Hogan's picture on it. So just those little bits of history will be really cool in like 5 or 10 years and be like, this is what the original TNT belt looked like. I think that's kind of cool. It is what it is.
You made me think of the NWA women's title, because the current title has the little picture of the wrestler, whoever's the champion.
Of Thunder Rosa.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, that was Dynamite. That's all I've got to say. I can't wait to see next week's Dynamite when Dennis Rodman, the Worm, comes out.
He's going to go against Karl Malone. He's going to go against Karl Malone, too.
I think they're going to develop a cruiserweight division in which should be really good. And I think they're going to go to the Mall of Georgia next week, too, guys.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so great. That's so great.
I'll time travel forward in time for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait for the Jay Leno when he comes out too.
If they go not to the Mall of America, because we know like there's a lot of AEW folks in Georgia. If they go to the Mall of Georgia and like have a match in it, I'm freaking there, dude.
Like have RoboCop come out and like walk up to the thing and take the cane off of his bare head.
I'm gonna go get a bowl of pasta from Hulk Hogan's Pasta Mania shop, and it's
yeah, we're live right outside of Victoria's Secrets, ready for tonight's fantastic action.
Speaking of Hulk Hogan, Tyson definitely needs to take lessons on how to rip a shirt off because he was struggling with that thing last night.
I was gonna say that's another thing. Like we're already thinking like, okay, this is kind of corny. This is like, really, is this what we're doing? And then it got to the point where he tried to rip the shirt off, and he could like, if you're gonna do it, like practice it ahead of time. I mean, come on, man. You look like an idiot out there.
Or have a little bit already cut up a little bit, so that
right. He just you look silly when you can't do it.
Or just pull out some scissors and just cut it right there, like
that would be funny, actually. I would actually pop for that.
I was actually looking at the video this morning to see if maybe like when Jericho and Tyson like squared off in the ring, if like when he shoved him, if like money flew out of his pockets,
like before, like last time. Yeah.
Like casino chips and shit went flying everywhere.
Alfred,
yeah.
You've got a big topic you were saving up for us. What is it, buddy?
Oh yeah.
You forget to come up with it?
I got it. No, well, we were talking last week about Flair, and apparently he has resigned. He signed a contract with WWE during this time where people are being let go by the company. They decided to hold on to Ric Flair. So there was no details as far as like lengthwise or amount.
Well, it's his last contract, so let's just put it that way.
Until you die. That's all.
Oh no!
There's a new docu-series called Ric Flair Last Contract.
Last contract.
No, actually, his documentary probably the longest the longest ride.
We've got exclusive video of Ric Flair when he was with TNA Wrestling. It's gonna be fantastic.
So what was it? The oldest ride and the longest line?
Yeah, that's it.
Did you start your Kickstarter for the Wooseum yet?
Wooseum. No, what I need to start a Kickstarter for is these daggum wrestling figures. I talked about it last.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
That I want to create the Click collection, right? Triple H Retro, all these other things. But I really do think that the Major Wrestling Figure podcast with Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, which is incredible, you should go watch it. They're actually going to do a complete history of the Hasbro line this coming Friday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Not that they need a plug, but there it is. But
real quick. I do want you to spell out when you're talking about the Click collection, because I listened to it last time and it does not sound like you're saying Click collection. And so I just want to specify to everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the Click collection, you spell it Kliq.
Because I'm about to be working on the other collection back here in a little bit.
Exactly my point. Like everybody's hearing it going, wait, what did he just say?
They're saying Click collection?
No, we're not saying that. So that's why I want you to spell it to clarify.
Well, I'm talking about Triple H in the National Hall. I'm talking about
and I'm talking about the key at the top.
So anyway, the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and they're driving up demand for this stuff, and they that's all, folks. So I mean, you rub me the wrong way, Adrian. You really push my buttons, okay?
I'm sorry.
Which is your favorite clip?
Click.
That's what I said. Click.
Yeah.
Yes, I ruined my damn segment.
Go ahead.
So the Major Wrestling Figure podcast is jacking up the prices, jacking up the demand. Some of these figures now, they were going for $60 $60. Now they're going for $700, $800, $900, including the 1, 2, 3 kit. So if you're out there and you're thinking about dropping a grand on a 1, 2, 3 kit Hasbro figure, what the hell's wrong with you?
Dude, I need you to make the new A-Bomb 2 suite. Needs to be, you're ruining my damn segment.
Where's my credit?
You ruined the damn segment.
Click.
You said that to like Arn Anderson. Like,
Stop talking, interrupting me while I'm talking.
ruining my damn segment.
Commercial.
Oh god.
That's my new T-shirt. Just go to commercial.
Just go commercial. Oh my god.
All right, guys. F it. I'm done.
Oh, he checked out.
FTR.
FTP, F the podcast.
All right. Hey, Alfred.
Yeah.
Ring the bell.
Ding ding. Oh, don't forget, if you want to go to our website, it's http://meanstreetpodcast.com.
You forgot the www.
Oh, yeah, damn it. Now I'm going to
I don't know what.
http://www.meanstreetpodcast.com.
Woo!
So
Apparently that's issued to some website. You can look at it.
what's funny is that saying.
I gotta get going, guys.
What's saying?
All right.
What's funny is hang on. I have a funny thing. We're about to
Oh,
be
wait.
over.
Last thing.
Last thing is that it takes more syllables
Go
to
ahead.
say www than World Wide Web. That's it, folks. Have a great evening.
Hey, I got you.